I want to talk about something. The media goes crazy about certain issues, and they almost always mislead you about the truth of the matter. So the big news is that this week is that Jared Kushner, the president's son-in-law, was trying to get a security clearance, and he wasn't given the appropriate security clearance, or the security clearance that would have allowed him to advise his father properly. Was being stalled because supposedly there were some people in the intelligence establishment that thought his ties to foreign leaders or foreign countries and other business activities made him an inappropriate person to have this high-level security clearance. And the allegation is now that President Trump intervened inappropriately to get his son-in-law the security clearance. Well, first of all, without giving it too much credence, I didn't see much in the way of evidence that actually took place. Supposedly, the former chief of staff to the president wrote a memo to that effect. Well, I don't know what the memo says. It's one of these things where we're just supposed to trust the media. And it's not clear exactly what President Trump said. President Trump said he didn't get involved. And I could imagine him saying, I'm not going to get involved, but we got to fix it. Is that an order to get it done? Of course not. So this could be another case of people who don't like President Trump using the media to suggest a scandal that's not really a scandal, but while masking the scandal that is a scandal, which is that Jared Kushner almost certainly should have gotten a security clearance, as high as necessary to effectively advise his father-in-law, and that the deep state objections to his getting the security clearance were not being made in bad faith, and the deep state was abusing the security clearance process, as I suspect they've done with other security clearance issues, to prevent the president from having his people in place have access to the full information they need to help him run the White House and the government. And what do? To show the lack of bad faith or the lack of good faith, they leak materials from Jared Kushner's personnel file, his security files, privacy-protected files, the release of which is in violation of criminal law, to the New York Times and the Washington Post and other media. That's the scandal. So the New York Times pretends the scandal is that President Trump tried to intervene to stop an abuse, and I don't even think they proved that case. And they just refuse to acknowledge that the abuse was them making up garbage to keep the president's son-in-law from having a security clearance. We're going to be asking questions about that, but I'm sure they won't give the documents to Judicial Watch under law because the full scandal would be exposed. And that's why we often have to sue. So that's like that's the new big scandal. There's always a new scandal, but I kind of draw that out for you to give you kind of an instant reaction to the sort of craziness you'll probably hear over the next week about the security clearance issues at the White House, because this has been a big focus of investigations. The security clearances were used as a cudgel against President Trump's team by the deep state. Just remember that.